We're back. This is Dear Woke Christian, the Week in Woke. Hey, everybody. Good to see you all. Thank you all so much for stopping by on this evening. So, if you're new to the channel, once a week, I usually just do a live stream, just kind of chit chatting it up with you all, going over some of the things that have happened on the channel, some things that are going on new on the channel, what to expect in the future, so on and so forth. I'm checking to make sure the audio sounds good on that end. I think it does. And I think it looks good. I like it. So yeah, what I do is I just jump on, talk for maybe about an hour or so, tell you about some of the things that have happened on the channel, some things that are going on that'll be new on the channel, hopefully moving into the next week or the next month or so. And then of course, taking questions and just kind of chopping it up. So I want to thank you all very much for stopping by. I see some good people stopping in, and I'd love to hear, what did your pastor preach about today? So Joel preached from Luke chapter 6, verses 39 through 49. I forgot that quickly. I had it ready and I forgot, but it was basically the parable of the building a house on the sand and the tree. And it was great. It was outstanding because it was really a reflective sermon. I like those where it really causes you to think like, man, am I allowing myself to get lazy? Am I allowing myself to get loose, if you will, with God's truth? So it was, Luke chapter 6, verses 43 through 49. Sorry about that. I had it backwards. And it was great, man. It was great. So you probably saw a short. I made a short of it. So from the sermon. So that's actually part of the video. So you'll see that at the beginning of this video actually tonight. It was just a short, just reminding us that the things that come out of us, the words we say, that's really what's in us. And so really, it was a reflective sermon. Really made me think like, man, am I filling myself? Am I putting in my heart the things that I want to come out? Because if, bad words come out, well, whose fault is that? It's mine, because I allowed that stuff to be in me in the first place. I didn't flood my heart with God's truth. So I thought it was good. So I saw Brother Mark, good to see you, man. Mark said his pastor preached from John chapter, 1 John, please forgive me, 5, 6 through 12. I love it. I saw your question, Dogmatic Pharisee. I am going to have a whole segment on that in a moment. So I definitely want to make sure I address that, because that was a good question. Good to see you, Shar. Always good to see you, sister. God's fancy girl. Good to see you. Grace and peace to you, friend. All right. And my Harrisburg campus, Mark. Thank you so much. Harrisburg campus holding it down. I love it. Thank you so much, Rob, for stopping by on this evening, friend. Thank you, friend. All right. Good to see you. Good to see you, Sean. Excellent. See, there you go. Atlanta 82. We're going to have to make this happen, Atlanta 82. We need to meet. We got to meet up. Good to see you. Good to see you for sure. Shawana Richard. Grace and peace, everybody. Good to see you so much. Shawana, good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. All right. Good to see you, Shar. And okay, so you were serving in the nursery. All right. Make sure you get that. I don't know if they have a DVD still or CDs or whatever. Make sure you check out your sermon. How many of you all actually go back and listen to your sermons? Does anybody else do that? I know I do. I don't do it as much as I would like to, but I do. Okay, I'm sorry about this, God's fancy girl. Well, we're praying that the car gets taken care of. I know having a car is a staple in Americana, so definitely with you for that. Praying for you for sure. All right, the Sermon on the Mount. All right, was that from Matthew or from Luke by any chance? The Sermon on the Mount, Atlanta since 82. All right, I was serving and started Bible study with young teenagers and young adults of my family today. We had a blessed time in the Lord's Word. I will listen to my sermon tonight. There you go. Fantastic. All right, so it was the Matthew one. Okay, I love it. Actually, Joel preached out of Matthew a time before. It was a while ago, but I enjoy it, man. It's just great when you really take the time to dig into God's word. It does become just so much more like, wow, this is so much better than I thought it would be. So much better. Haggai, what, Brenda? Haggai. Our text today was from Ezra. All right. Now, I don't know many people have preached through the book of Haggai. You're going to get that award today. I've never heard anybody preach from there. Yeah, I can't honestly say I've heard anybody preach from that. Yeah. Interesting. I love it. Well, thank you so much. Thank y'all so much for stopping by on today. Mary Voska said that it's Psalm 119, 89 through 91. Psalm 119 is so long. You could probably easily preach through that. Take the time and preach through it. Probably take 6 months if you took your time. I can easily see that happening. Probably even longer, actually. Yes, Atlanta 82. I enjoyed it a lot, especially when he started talking about how people today love having their ears tickled. I agree. Mark says he loves saying Nahum. You know what? There are some names that no fault given. I'm not going no shade there because I totally get it. Dogmatic Pharisee said, dude, I love Nahum. Okay, I love it. I think that's fantastic. It reveals God's awesomeness and power. Amen. Wow. Yep. See, I knew it. He's been preaching through Psalm 119 for over a year. I agree. I mean, you could easily take, especially if there's multiple passages that kind of get like recycled or you kind of like incorporate it into the next series. Man, I can see it taking well over a year. So wow. I thought 6 months was going to be serious, but I'm not surprised. I love it. Good to see all of y'all. Thank you so much. I want to thank every last one of y'all for hanging out with me on a Sunday. I know you have so much going on, getting ready for the work week and all that kind of good jazz, closing down from the Lord's Day. I thank you all for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I really do. And I want to say thank you again to those persons that are supporting me on Buy Me a Coffee. You have something special in your email, so check that out. Let me know what you think about it. I'd love to hear your feedback on it as well. And I do want to talk about one of the things I was doing, which was this plan of shooting a video without editing a video. So I just literally sit down the camera, shoot it, and upload it. Now, the reason I did that is because I have been doing that is because I want to focus on YouTube and content creating as a whole. You can really get lost in the weeds. There's so many fine details of everything from your lights to your camera, the microphone, your technology, your desk. I mean, you could get lost for days and not even realize it, that you spent so much time focusing on all these other little small things. So what I did was I gave myself permission. Don't edit any more videos, Jason. Just upload the video and focus on getting better at thumbnails, titles, and descriptions. That's been my TNT, if you will. I said I'm gonna focus on my thumbnails, my titles, my descriptions, and I'm just gonna let the videos do what they do. I know I can get better at editing. I know I can work on it. So needless to say, that's what I've been focusing on, because I wanted to point out something that I heard a coach say recently. And it's not the same coach that told me to do the one shot and upload, but it's someone else who mentioned that there are 3 S's, if you will. There's 3 S's in our journey. And the first thing we do is we gather a skill. So whether it be shooting videos or talking in the microphone, all the kind of things that go on behind the scenes, you get a skill, and you should strive to master that skill and get really good at it. I mean, really good at it. I know Gladwell said you have to have 10,000 hours in order to become an expert at a skill. So just pick your skill and get really good at it. So I chose that. I'm going to get really good at my thumbnails, my titles, and my descriptions. I like writing. I know, so there's my titles and my descriptions. And thumbnails, I mean, they should be easier for me. So that was my thought process. So that was the skill. Then next, after you get the skill, you have the share. So that's where you start really sharing your information, sharing your habits, sharing your whatever it is that you've learned out on social media, or hanging out a shingle because you want people to pay you for it, whatever like that. That's when you start to share or market or push your idea out there on media and so forth. But then the last one is either success. That's where you're successful at this and other people are compensating you or paying you for your skill that you just learned in the beginning. So I don't think people are going to pay me for my thumbnails, if you will. I don't think people are going to pay me for my titles and descriptions. However, I want people to say, hey, like, this is something that I want to be a part of. I want to support this. I want to watch the video. I want to click the video, whatever. So I said that I'm going to focus on my thumbnails, my titles, and my descriptions, my skill before I share, and before I see success. So that's what I'm working on. So hopefully you'll see it, and I'll double back, and I still work on editing the videos later on. I'll edit them and try to make them a little bit better. But initially, just push them out there. Don't even worry about it, Jason. Thumbnails, titles, and descriptions. So that's my plan. That's why you see me doing that. So if you're wondering, what is Jason doing? This video's got him sneezing in it, or this video, he hiccuped in here, or the audio didn't work. I just said I'm not going to worry about it. Worry about my thumbnails, my titles, and my descriptions, and get better at those. And then, of course, double back and get better at other things as well. So that's what it was. Now, I wanted to say something. First of all, shout out to whoever recommended the book Tribe to me. That's next. I'll be starting to read that on, actually, probably tonight when I get done. Probably get off the line and start reading a couple pages. Me and my kids. My kids have their summer reading list, and I can't believe they're doing this. There is a prequel to the Hunger Games coming out in August or September. And so my kids got the book. They really liked the Hunger Games. I kind of liked it too, I ain't gonna lie. So the Dangerous Crew got the book. So then I said, hey, we're gonna sit down. Everybody's gonna read at night. So that's gonna be the focus. So I'm gonna be reading Tribe, and they're gonna be reading the Ballad of Snakes and Cardinals or something crazy. It's some kind of Hunger Game prequel book. So anyway, that's that. So shout out to you. I will be giving you some feedback on what I think about this book, and give you some my 2 cents, if you will. Now, I did not forget about your Dogmatic Pharisee. I'm gonna save that to the end, but I am going to talk about Dogmatic Pharisee asked me about my reading habit and how do I keep up with everything I read. So I will go over that with y'all in a moment. All right, what we got? Some people popping in here. Looks like some family reunion stuff going on. Rob Q said Pastor Billy is teaching on the evil Klaus Schwab today. Really? I feel like I know that name, but I don't think I know that name. I have to look it up. I'll be doing some research when I get done. All right. Okay. So most people know about Allen Parr. And you probably watched Allen Parr. It's like a 19-minute video where he's talking about why he's going to be stepping back from the hectic YouTube schedule that he's imposed upon himself and upon his team. All right. And last week, someone asked me about it. And I have to admit, I watched the video, but I really wasn't paying attention. I really wasn't. So last week I was like, I made some commentary about Allen Parr and about YouTubing as a whole, so on and so forth. But I went back and watched the video again. This time actually paying attention. And I was like, you know what? I need to give a little bit more. So I wrote some notes here about what I gleaned from Allen's video. I don't take back anything I said last week. And I totally respect Allen Parr as a content creator. So there's no, I don't feel like I was being disingenuous at all. But let me just real quick. So we know Allen already, he has over 1 million subscribers. He's worked diligent and hard at the craft of putting out content on YouTube. And I take nothing from that at all. Now, I do think that there is something wrong with YouTube. I am going to say that. And Allen kind of hinted to it. I know tons of people, myself included, who have seen a significant decrease in the views on their channel. I mean, I've had a lot. I've had a lot of views go down. I mean, my views have gone down significantly. So I totally can understand that. So if you're, if you're a content creator with 1 million subscribers, you would kind of expect at least half of those people to watch your videos. And if you're not seeing that, I can understand. If you're only getting 1/10 of that, granted, that's still a lot of people, but it's not a lot in comparison to how many subscribers you have. So I totally understand that Allen would like to see, growth in his channel and see people actually partaking and participating in the content. And there's nothing wrong with that. I totally understand. And it can be discouraging. Your views to subscriber count, you do want that to be. I mean, there's no benefit to having 1 million subscribers if you're only going to have 100,000 views. Then why not just have 100,000 views? I mean, 100,000 subscribers. Again, so I can totally get that. I don't think Alan is bad for saying that and bad for voicing that, because it's a reality. Now, un momento. And there we go. So as a content creator, you can quickly, and I can sympathize, empathize with Alan in that you can quickly say, hey, I put out this banger video and it got all the views I thought it would get. I put out this great video and it didn't get all the views I thought it would get. I can see that ebb and flow. I can see that up and down. Totally understand it. Now, at the end of the day, we are aware as Christian content creators that the content we're putting out is really for an audience of one. It's really one view that matters. We got one subscriber and one view that matters, and that's God. So if we're doing our very best content, then yes, it should be fine. I know I gave God my very best work. That's what it is. And God is pleased with my work. Now, yes, I do want y'all to watch the video as well. Yeah, I do want your feedback as well. But at the end of the day, I'm not doing it for the people. I'm doing it for my Lord. So I can totally get that. And there's a gentle, delicate balance between the two of those. So I'm not upset with Alan. I totally get how he, we all get there. So there's nothing, no shade thrown at him at all for that. All right, keep it moving. So now the thing I think I didn't get, and I don't, again, not trying to argue with Alan, not trying to disagree with him. I think he says that he's doing 2 high quality videos per week, and it took a large toll on his emotional and mental health. Personally, and I just literally just talked about it, I would put out far more videos and produce them less. And he kind of alluded to it, like he might start doing some videos with his cell phone and stuff like that. Do that. There's no reason to put out a Netflix, motion picture quality video twice a week. There's no reason to do that, because a lot of people are not watching it. They're watching it on the cell phone. They're watching it while they're on the train, whatever like that. They're not getting the fullness of that video anyway. Most people are not watching your videos on a large screen television. I was at church today, and we have a lounge for mothers or parents with children that may be a little loud or whatever like that don't want to go to the nursery, whatever. So they're able to, watch service on a very big screen TV. And after service, I went in there and just watched one of my videos on it. It was humongous and it was really cool. I was like, wow, this is great. But most people are not watching your videos on an 80-inch television. They're not. Most of them are watching on their cell phone. So that being the case, I don't think that Alan should. I think he should put out more videos and maybe produce them less. Not saying like fire people, but maybe just produce them less. And I think there was something to take away from that, because as far as I know, the quality and the content rather of his videos are good. So just put out more good content and let the quality of the video just, hover around normal. It doesn't have to be exceptional, award-winning type of stuff, but maybe just hover around normal. Most people are not even noticing. There's no reason to shoot it in 4K because most people can't see 4K on their phones. So there's no reason to do that. So he also mentioned that he was going to be taking a break from YouTube, reshaping his identity and refocusing on ministry, and prioritize mental and emotional health. No question there. No question at all. I think that's a smart thing for him to do. he felt like he was pushing the team too hard. And I think that goes back to my point before. I don't know if the ROI, the return on investment, is the same. If you put out a super highly produced video, or you just put out a regular mid-tier video, but the content of both of them is solid, I don't think you're going to see that return on the super highly produced and the low produced video. And you see this because YouTube is pushing podcasts. They're really going hard on podcasts, and podcasts are literally some 2 or 3 people sitting around just talking. They're super low production most of the time. They're not highly edited. There's not a lot of screen effects and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it can be, but not necessarily. A lot of the time, it's just usual guy and gal or people sitting around talking. So I don't think, for me, I don't think Alan should focus on that, but rather just focus on making sure that, one, the content is honoring to Christ, is making much of Christ, and just let the chips fall where they may. But I think you could actually do more content like that. Like, don't overproduce it. And if nothing else, maybe try it out for a month. If Alan's doing 2 videos a week, so that's 8 videos a month, try to do 10, but don't produce them as much. But use the same amount of time that it would take you to produce the 8. So if it takes you 8 hours, which it doesn't, let's say it takes you 8 hours to do 8 videos, then can you do however long it would take you to do, however much production rather it would take you to do in 8 hours to do 10 videos, and just see what happens. I bet you he would see the same amount of views, the same amount of engagement, probably more engagement, especially if it's very behind the scenes and such like that. People like to see that kind of stuff. So I thought it was interesting. What else does I? So Alan is cutting back to 1 video a week to create that high quality Bible-centric content. And I don't think he should. I think he should probably put out more. He should put out several videos a week, but just not as produced, or put out 1 big long podcast and divide the podcast into several episodes that can be uploaded as videos throughout the week. And that still gives everybody opportunity to work, but you've put out 1 monster, omnibus product, a 2-hour podcast, Alan talking about 15 different topics in 2 hours. And then take that, split it up, cut it up, dice it up into various and sundries, and then just upload those throughout the week. Now, you see this with some other podcasters that do that. Now, they might not be Christian, they might not be putting out but I've seen other content creators that literally put out 20, 30 videos a week. Now, I'm not saying that, but they're not super produced either. They're extremely non-produced, non-edited videos. They're just they did a large podcast, probably like 2.5, 3 hours, and they just chopped that thing up like sushi at Sushi Wednesday, and that's it. So I think there's some room for him there. But again, if it's a matter of prioritizing his family, his own spiritual health and well-being, his mental health, all that kind of stuff, yeah, YouTube, one video a week is fine. But if it's a matter of just like, I'm stressing myself out because I'm chasing after these views, maybe just produce more videos. Just something to try. But yeah, that was just some of the things I picked up from Mr. Parr's video. And I thought it was a good video. I thought it was being fair and truthful. I thought it was being transparent, which is really dope to see somebody being transparent like that and talk about some of the things that they're experiencing out here in the social media world, which is fine, I think. But that would be my takeaways. I know many of you all asked last week, and I have to admit, I had not really given it the time. I was really listening to it and not paying attention. But I actually sat down and watched it, and I was like, I got some more thoughts on this. So that was it. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Lady Hill in the building. Good to see you. I see K-Dub is in the house. Good to see you, friend. Always good to see you. Always good to see you. Aren't you spreading the Lord's word to reach people? I'm wondering, am I missing ASM? I think I got you. That's a good question. I want to make sure I'm not missing. Maybe somebody else was also talking. Atlanta. Yes, this is true. This is a real thing. They were. He's shadow banned like most Christian content. Yeah, I'm shadow banned. I mean, I've been looking it up and I'm basically shadow banned. Um, they're not pushing. So what happens when they shadow ban you on YouTube? They don't push your content. Your views tank. I can show you if I showed you all my analytics, you all would get vertigo because it went from up here to close to the floor within a week. Like all my impressions have gone down, everything. So yeah, I don't know what to do either, but we'll just keep on pressing through at the moment. Now, and hear me, I know there's a couple, I see some conversations here about Alan, and I agree. There's been some friendliness with the unfaithful. I totally get it. I was only speaking from the standpoint of Alan Parr as a content creator, let's just say a business person. So I do think there's some theological things that he could iron out, certainly get a little bit more strict on certain things like that. But just from the answering his video where he was talking about stepping back from YouTube a little bit, that was all I was really referencing. All right. Oh, shadow banning is real. I'm telling you right now, I can tell you for sure it is real. What's going on, Vic? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Coffee and Rage? I like the name. I love it. I love it. Okay, here's Atlanta 82. What'd you say here? I follow a podcast that goes live 3 to 4 hours on twice a week. So that's 6 to 8 hours a week. That's amazing. That's some Joe Rogan stuff right there. They break the videos up into segments for the week. They drop 5 videos per day. There we go. That way people will watch them more easily. I love it. Yeah. I mean, there's a podcaster. I follow her just because she was in a lot of, there's a lot of stir around her name recently. Just Pearly Things. Just Pearly Things probably puts out 6 videos a day. I'm not even kidding you. I don't even keep up with them all. Like, it's like, what can I keep up with? From shorts to mic drop moments to whole segments and videos on demand. She puts out, I'm not even kidding you, she probably puts out 6 pieces of content a day. Easily. And I mean, that's cool for her. But I mean, she has the views, she has the engagement, and she has the subscribers to justify it. Because I mean, her daily views are somewhere astronomical, somewhere just out of control on a daily basis. So she's putting out that kind of content. I love it. So I don't think I'm gonna be doing a 3 to 4 hour, but I mean, I could script it out and I could plan to do a 3 hour live stream. I could. I just don't want to do it, but I could do it. Absolutely. Which is kind of interesting because now we're talking about social media, and we're going to take 2 topics and you're gonna be like, what in the world? Social media and John MacArthur. What in the world? All right. I disagree with John MacArthur on the topic. So today we're going to look at it together. We're going to look at it together, and I'll just kind of explain what it is that I disagree with the gentleman elder from California. Let me see real quick. Atlanta 82 says, I follow Just Pearly Things. She drops all day, every day. She's shadow banned. Okay, I gotta look that up, because Just Pearly Things, I follow people's Social Blade scores, and if she's shadow banned, I feel like I'm in good company. All right, I'm gonna look this up real quick. First of all, she got like 3 channels. She got Just Pearly Things and Just Pearly Things Official. I think this is the right one though. Yeah, man. I mean, she puts out videos. Okay, so no, she ain't. She literally got 1 million views yesterday. On Friday, she got 2.2 million views. Earned 10,000 subscribers this morning. Yeah, Just Pearly Things is killing it. Now, what I would love to see is how many videos that she put up. So she has 7,479 videos in the can. That's crazy. She has 699 million views. Just Pearly Things is killing it. Like, she's just putting out tons of content. And I'll have to look because I would love to see like how many pieces of content does she put out a day? Because that would really be interesting to see. Like, oh, like she's putting out 9 pieces of content a day. I would love to see what kind. So that might be my next research project. Thank you so much, Atlanta 82. What's going on, Corey? What's up? Hello, all. Apparently, I'm part of the mob now. So I'm trying to see if this is where there is no mob, my friend. There is no mob, but I'm glad to have you. Grace and peace, my friend. Grace and peace. Matter of fact, I'm glad you're here because I'm going to talk about John MacArthur. So, since we all apparently we all esteem Mr. MacArthur too much, so I'm going to take some steam out of the John MacArthur cart, out of the balloon rather. I'm gonna disagree with Johnny Mac. So real quick, let's bring him on.
Give a little advice.
All right, thank you so much for stopping by. Real quick, if you could just let me make sure you can hear this, because sometimes
give a little
the
advice
audio is weird.
to
you just
those of you
drop a
who,
9 in the chat if you can hear
intentions,
that.
decide you're going to debate doctrinal issues in social media environments. Don't waste your time. I know enough about social media. Not that I'm involved in it, I'm not. But I know enough about it to know that when I write a blog article,
all right, cool,
and somebody picks up on some.
Okay, I'm gonna back up just a little taste and give him a run. So John MacArthur is talking about why we should not debate on social media. All right, and let's give him a shot.
Let me give a little advice to those of you who, with good intentions, decide you're going to debate doctrinal issues in social media environments. Don't waste your time. I know enough about social media, not that I'm involved in it, I'm not, but I know enough about it to know that when I write a blog article and somebody picks up on something they don't like, somebody else picks on something that they don't like about what that guy didn't like, and all of a sudden this thing is completely out of control, and streams and streams of comments that have nothing to do with the original document or nothing beneficial to do with anything dominate. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you give people sort of half answers, brief answers, and they begin to take them apart. Social media is a minimum communication mechanism. Debates about sound doctrine belong on a much more in-depth and intense level. If you're going to talk about doctrine, you need to go deeper into the Word of God. It's not something you can just hassle over with sound bites or with cryptic statements and think you're actually going to make some progress. And it's pretty much the attitude of people of this culture anyway. If you're convinced against your will, you're unconvinced still, right?
All right, J Mac. All right, I totally understand. Now, first of all, we need to determine, what do we mean by social media? What do we mean by social media? Because a lot of people don't consider it, but the second largest search engine in the world, in the history of Americana, in the history of the world, you're on it right now. It's YouTube. So YouTube is a social media platform. We don't see it like Facebook or Twitter or Gab, but YouTube is a social media platform. So I think we need to make sure we clarify. It sounds a lot like he's saying, like, we don't want to get into Twitter fights, which, you know what, I can totally agree with that. You're not going to make doctrinal treatise in 140 characters. I totally get it. In that regard, if it's only about messing around on Twitter, yeah, I don't think you need to debate that. I don't think there's going to be a debate. You're not going to change somebody's doctrine on Twitter. However, since we're talking about social media as a whole, I do think that YouTube is the right place to have those type of discussions and debates. Now, let me tell you why. Behind me are tons of books. And at one time, before there was a social media, many theologians wrote books in order to lay out their cases. So many people are familiar with Calvin. Okay. He wrote out his theory, or rather this theory, he wrote out what he understood of the doctrines of grace and what we now call Reformed theology or Calvinism in a response to someone else who wrote a book. So at that point, that's what they had. And therefore, they would write these long, these long books back and forth to one another, like literally write a book and you get a book to read. Like, come on, that's wild. So I think in the time and space that we're in today, we're able to do much more and share much more in a place like YouTube than we could if we were writing books to one another or nailing theses on doors of the church, so on and so forth. I think we can do better than that. And that's just where we are today. So I disagree with John in regards to all social media. Because again, Twitter is useless. I got you. Totally got you. Reddit, come on. It's like your drunk uncle at the picnic. Come on, man. He's just sitting there talking, rambling. Okay, I got you. But YouTube and video essays and such like that, I think a lot of that can be worked out. Now, granted, there's still going to be some back and forth. There's still going to be some disagreements. There's still going to be some missteps, so on and so forth. But we can flesh through certain topics here on this medium. I don't think we should say, oh, the only way to debate a topic is to have a face-to-face with a moderator in the middle doing the 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 90. No, we can literally do it just like this. And I think that, so again, I think there's some places that we should really define what he meant by social media. So again, Twitter, not so much. Reddit, not so much. Here on YouTube, Rumble, that kind of situation like that, yeah, I think so. Because please keep in mind, blogs are just a step below writing a book and a step above videos. So blogs are not that much different. I mean, you still got the comment section that can go crazy. You still got, I mean, again, it's very similar. So I don't think we need to do away with all of them. And especially, this is the medium by which humans now are communicating. So I don't think we should say, oh, the only way to do this is that way. So I do disagree with Dr. MacArthur in that respect. Not, for anything more than that, but just, I think we could still utilize all of this. And I mean, we see people who've utilized it fantastically. And again, you're never going to hit every dot or every step along the way. So even if we debated it, you would still miss it. If you did it on video, you're still going to miss it. If you did it on Twitter, you're going to sure enough miss it. So it's just my little 2 cents, my disagreement with Dr. MacArthur. All right. Yes, TikTok, totally useless. So again, if that's what he's talking about, I agree. Twitter, TikTok, not so much. YouTube, Rumble, I think there's one called Odyssey. No, I think we could still have that conversation still. I still think so. All right, hold on. I saw some other comments. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I don't, and hear me, I'm not disagreeing with John MacArthur. It was really more bombastic. I don't disagree with Dr. MacArthur at all. At the end of the day, we do want to be mindful of how we present the gospel and present doctrinal truths, absolutely. But I think somebody who's settled, one of the things I've noticed, quite a few people, they've actually not spent the time working through their own theology. Let me use a perfect example. Young Don. A lot of you all are familiar with Young Don Reborn, okay, on his YouTube channel. He was a popular gamer, has a really big following. He made a profession of faith, and he just went completely left. And I mean, every day he's saying something else contradictory. I think the most recent is that he doesn't believe in the Trinity. Okay, so he's doctrinally in error. But one of the things I notice when people like that, a lot of the time, they've never actually sat down with somebody to disciple them, to encourage them, and help them walk through and understand what they actually believe. They just say, oh, I prayed a prayer, I'm a Christian. Now I can open up a church. It's really that quick. And very rarely do they actually sit down and actually get taught. And I'll give you a contrast, because y'all know that Gothix is also a very famous YouTuber, very popular YouTuber. She has a great following and so on and so forth. She made a profession of faith, absolutely. And guess what? She's actually in a church. She's actually a member of a church. And I think if you listen to Gothics, if you listen to Young Don Reborn, you'll see like there's a contrast between Gothics has thought through quite a bit of her theology. Is she perfect? Come on now. Come on. But she's thought through a lot of her theology. If I heard Gothics tomorrow say there was no such thing as a Trinity, I would be surprised. I would be totally surprised because she's already fleshed a lot of that out in whether it be in her new members class, her new believers class, with her husband, so on and so forth. She's fleshed out a lot of that. And so now when she's on social media, she is laying out a very clear and cogent case for what she believes and why others should believe it. You follow Young Don, he's not a member of a church. He has not thought through a lot of the even the simplest aspects of the Christian faith. And he's just all over the place. He's just saying something different. He's literally contradicted himself on his own show. And in the same episode, he said one thing 1 hour, the next hour he said something different, totally contradicting it. So my point is, social media allows you another opportunity to flesh that out. What you believe. What do you believe about the threeness of God? What do you believe about election? What do you believe about the presence of evil? What do you believe about that? What do you already believe about that? And then this is what I think. So I think social media has a place. So that's just my 2 cents there. I'm glad, Brenda, yes, I love John MacArthur. He's a godly man and preacher. I don't agree with everything he says, though. No. And I don't think that you should. Matter of fact, my pastor and I don't agree on everything. Okay. My pastor and I have disagreed on certain topics and so on and so forth. I submit because he's my pastor, but I mean, it's never been like a fisticuff type of disagreement, but that could happen. That's perfectly fine. I don't think God ever expected us to agree with anybody 100% except him. I don't think he's expected us to agree with anybody, any other human 100% of the time. I just don't believe that. Yeah, I get what he's saying, Lady Hill. Absolutely. I get it. Reformed theology is hard to condense into a spicy meme. Well, there you go. Now, if you're using memeology, yeah, you're gonna run into some difficulties. I do like some good memes though, every now and then. But no, I totally get your point. Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm not saying even argue. I'm saying not even argue. Especially if they don't know them on Facebook or Twitter or anything else. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you per se because I don't expect to sway you. However, a personal example, today I had somebody come to my comment section on my R.L. Dabney. Let me pull this up. Let me see if I can grab it real quick because I thought it was good and I think that this might show what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to argue with you about a point that I disagree with you on, but rather I want you to see where I come from and how I get that, where I got that point from. So I think this is it right here. And yep. Okay, cool. Let me pull it up real quick. So I just want to show, like, I don't expect you to, and yeah, definitely not trying to get you to argue with somebody or get into a fisticuff with someone. However, is it possible that you could show a level of graciousness and help them see where you come from and where your viewpoint arrives? Because that's ultimately what you want them to do anyway. I want you to think and come up with why. So if you, and I'm not going to read these to you because I think it's entirely too long. However, if you look, does it show up? Okay, cool. So if you go, I'll drop you out of here. There we go. All right. If you go to my YouTube, the Phil Johnson interview where Phil Johnson is talking about R.L. Dabney. All right. Kind of controversial character for sure. He was a theologian that had a, at the end of his life, he had a very racist, racially skewed viewpoint on the world. Got you. All right. So the person, and it's right here at the top, the person's, basically saying that, we're wrong for saying that you could still read R.L. Dabney. And so my question to the person was, have you read anything from R.L. Dabney? Because I have quite a few books on my shelf right here from Mr. Dabney. Now, by no means am I saying that everything he wrote was perfect and without needing some critique. However, I just asked the woman, like, have you read anything that he's written? She, of course said no. She chose not to. I said, not a problem. And I explained to her, hey, he really wrote in like 3 segments. He wrote pre-war, he wrote during the war, and of course, after the Civil War. And I said, now, of course, his after the Civil War work is not the best. It's not as shining work. However, the earlier years, that stuff is actually really helpful. It's extremely helpful. If you would look at it, and I was going to give her a couple book suggestions, she said she really wasn't interested. So I'm not going to try to sway her. She's got to believe like I believe, or I got to believe like she believes. But I did want her to see, like, this is how I came to the conclusion that, and this is how Phil Johnson as well came to the conclusion that, you know what, we can eat the meat, spit out the bone. We don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. All those little colloquialisms. But there is something good that you can derive from it, and I explain why. But even more than that, even more at the end of the day, if you don't know about the person, how are you able to determine that there's not any value in what they've read? What they wrote. How do you know that? So that was what I was really ultimately trying to push toward. It's like, hey, I understand you don't like R.L. Dabney. Okay, why don't you like him? How do you know that what he's written was racist? How do you know? Like, what have you read on your own? Because I've read it on my own. I didn't let someone tell me, but I actually read it myself. And I'm like, yeah, it's not these shining moments at all. Absolutely not. However, some of his early works is actually really good. And the bad thing is that if I read you some of his earlier works, you wouldn't know that it was R.L. Dabney. You wouldn't. You would say, yeah, like his stuff about public education, his stuff about the family, his stuff about culture, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. I promise you. I would read it to you right now. You would not know that it was anything different than your regular conservative Bible believing Christian today. And that's it. So back to the argument about whether or not we argue on social media. I think this is where we flesh out a lot of those things. I think it's good to flesh these out and debate them and have a little discussion, a little heated discussion even about it. And then at the end of the day, recognize I'm not going to change your mind. I just want you to start thinking about it, and I want you to consider it. That's all. Let me see. Yeah, see, Vic, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said I think we really have to analyze what is social media. Because again, John MacArthur might have been saying social media, meaning Twitter. I'm thinking all of social media. That's Facebook, that's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's all of these platforms that the kids are using today, even TikTok, all of that. So then we got to figure out, put them all on the table, which ones are useful, which ones are not. So that's it. And Vic just said, I think explaining your position in a long form video on YouTube is different and totally acceptable. And that's it. Oh, thank you so much for hitting the like button. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Yes, TikTok is the social media disease for sure. Okay, as long as the responsive videos are done from faith and don't turn into cafeteria food fight, the servant of the Lord must not be quarrelsome. Absolutely. I mean, I think we can totally work that out, but at the end of the day, I don't think that all social media should be excused, because also I think my question to Dr. MacArthur would be, okay, what is another way? If you remove all social media, and whatever his definition of social media was, if we remove all social media, how do we have dialogue and discussion and vet through? Like Vic is right here in Atlanta. I know that, but let's just say we have a disagreement about something and we need to figure it out, or there's some doctrinal question that we have. How do we work it out if we don't use social media? Because again, I mean, some people might say Messenger is social media. I mean, again, there's a lot of different things that I think we should really clarify. As a good friend of mine says, we got to clarify terms. So I don't disagree with John MacArthur. I just think that we really need to lay out what are the terms, what is social media to you, because it might be different to me. I think a debate is okay, my friend Atlanta 82 says. once the name calling ensues, it's no longer a debate. And many mature discussions don't turn into name calling. Many of them do. There are some, but those are the childish ones that most of us probably wouldn't even engage in the first place, because the person's already shown a propensity to not be able to be sound and rational. However, again, like using Vic as an example, Vic and I can disagree about, Buffalo Wild Wings over Taco Mac, and we don't have to get into name calling and whatnot like that. We can just say that Vic is wrong and I'm right. It's easy like that. That's just how we do it. And most people are mature and able to do that and keep it sane. And at the end of the day, the audience will still be able to ascertain, like, okay, these two men, these people engage with one another. They got into a verbal sparring match, but they shook hands. They were able to go get coffee afterwards without, starting a fist fight. That's what people want to see, because then they know, like, okay, your faith is genuine. Like, oh, you're really trying to live this out, because you're being civil with somebody that you disagree with, and you're not taking you're not taking a disagreement to not being personal and making attacks and so on and so forth, but rather just saying, hey, you know what? We disagree about this, and let's go. At the current moment, Friendo, was it you that recommended it? I know it was one of you that recommended. So the book just came yesterday, and I just mentioned that when I get off the air tonight, we have an hour of family reading. So that book is slated. So I just put it back there to remind me to say thank you. I think it was you that recommended the book to me. So I will give you some feedback on it. And I also got to answer Pharisee's question. Let me get your question back up here. All right. So Dogmatic Pharisee, if most of you may or may not know, I am reading a book a week, and I've been doing this for this will be my third year. So every week I'm moving and transitioning into a new book. So I just finished The Doctrine of Repentance by Watson. Finished that yesterday. And so I'm going to be picking up Tribe today. Now, so the question that Dogmatic Pharisee said, what are some tips that help you retain what you just read? Could be for reading in general? Thanks. All right. One of the cheat codes that I have for retaining information is most of my books are about theology. I did last year, I did a lot of biographies, and they are hard to remember, a lot of the biographical information. Even though I found them extremely interesting, I don't remember the difference between when Ziegler died versus Whitefield. I really don't remember all of those. So biographies are going to be hard, but it's really, you're not going to be quizzed on the life and death of John Bunyan. So what you do want, however, is extract information from there that applies and can be applied to other things that you've learned. So I try to read books that are very similar. So I've probably read more John Bunyan books than I really want to confess. I've read tons of books on Reformed theology. Like I told you in my earlier discussion, I've read 5 books by R.L. Dabney. I've read 3 or 4 books by Calvin. Actually, fun fact, I've probably only read 2 books by MacArthur. I've read 3 books by Voddie Baucham. So I try to read books that are very, and they have a very similar theme. So I might read, Pink wrote a book on the thoughts of young men, how young men can maintain their thoughts. So then I might read another book soon thereafter that talks about purity, that talks about how to deal with sin in your life. So they're very similar. So some of the concepts will cross over one another. So a couple things. I try to keep a theme, as well as books that are very similar to one another. So if there's a series of books, there's a series of biography books that are right here. I think I have all of the biographies from Calvin to Luther to all these different fathers of the faith. I have all their books. A lot of them are written by Steve Lawson, by the way. And so that's one way. Another one is just themes. And then lastly, you can repeat books. So I plan, after I finish Tribes, I'm gonna go back and read a book that I read last year. And then I'll probably pick up 2 or 3 books from the year previous, like the book Preaching to the Choir by Svensson. I've read that book. I'm not even being funny. I think I've read that book 9 times. And I'll probably read it 9 more times before this thing's over with. So that's some of the ways I keep up with reading books and keeping, remembering what I've read. So hope that helps. And ASM said, why is it not popping up? ASM was asking, aren't you spreading God's word, the Lord's word, and reaching people? I think you were talking about when I was discussing Alan Parr, and I agree, absolutely. And so whether it be using this medium, social media, of live streaming or whatever, yes, we are hopefully spreading God's word so that at the end of the day, that's my audience of one. I'm doing this for an audience of one. I'm glad that I have 36 people watching this with me. That's fantastic. But really, this is really this is for one person, and 35 other people are just kind of eavesdropping. I'm doing this for the Lord. So I think having that as your mindset is good. So I hope that helps out. All right, got some other questions popping up in here. What's going on, Susie Q? It's good to see you. Yes, Gothics has come a long way. And I think she's vetted through quite a bit of her theology. She's, wrestled with her ideas. I've talked to her, so I know that she's actually parsed through quite a bit. So, and listening to her now, I know where she was. I'm like, yes, her pastors are discipling her and helping her, move through those things, which I think is great. I think a debate of Young Don versus Young Don would be good. He's held every side of most theological issues. Absolutely. And the thing is, he doesn't know. He's not very learned. I have a clip of him saying that he was a Calvinist for 2 weeks. Sir, you weren't a Calvinist for 2 weeks. I'm sorry. You were not a Reformed. You weren't Reformed for 2 weeks. I'm sorry. That's not the case. You weren't. You might have read a book. You might have hung out with somebody. You might watch the Paul Washer sermon, but you were not Reformed for 14 days. That's just not it. So I think Young Don, again, would debate himself in many instances, which would probably be fun. Too Legit says, Young Don is a perfect example of why a new convert shouldn't be a teacher. Amen. Amen. Vic says, I just don't like that dude, Broken Dusty. He been talking a lot of mess. I'll make an exception for him if I catch him in traffic. I hope you will. I hope you will. Yes. See, this is it right here. God's fancy girl. What you said, Too Legit to quit. I'm grateful for my teaching pastor and elders. We have, as much as I love engaging with you all here on social media and YouTube and listening to other YouTubers and so forth, I would not put them above my pastor at all, or even my elders, because I know that these are people that literally have come to my home, that have prayed with me and my family, that all of that jazz, and they're involved in my life. So if I have a question, problem, or concern, yes, I can reach out to Susie Q. I can reach out to Vic. But at the end of the day, I'm glad that I can pick the phone up and I can call Joel. I can call Danny and I can interact with them, and they're there to help me. That's something that's invaluable. That's invaluable. So if you don't have a good church, that's something I think you should put really at the priority. Like, if the Lord has called you out of darkness, then he's got to put you in a place where you can grow and flourish. I don't think he would just call you to just be a lone wolf out here doing Christianity on your own. I just don't think that would be the case. All right, so Shawana said, my niece lives in Atlanta. She's looking for a good church that teaches the Bible rightly and soundly. Do you know Sound Bible Church? Bible teaching church in Atlanta. Now, yes, but we got to figure out, we got to define some terms. Where does she live in Atlanta? Because I'm sure Vic can attest, and the other AT aliens that live here, Atlanta's big. And a lot of people say they live in Atlanta, and they do not live in Atlanta. Okay. I live in Marietta, which is outside of Atlanta proper, probably about 15, 16 miles. Now that's probably doesn't seem like a lot, but trust me, it could be a lot based upon where you're coming from. So if you can give me a little better gauge of where she is, Shawana, I would definitely do my best to help her out. And you got my email, dearwokec@gmail.com. I'm dropping it in there as well. All right. Young Don needs to cam up with Corey. That would be an interesting conversation. I would definitely want to see that. I really like Corey's discussion with Don's Trinity views. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Nakia. I don't know if Corey's still here, but I would love to see that. And not just for spectacle's sake, but again, I think to the point that the clarifying what John MacArthur said, I think it's good to have those kind of discussions. I think it's good to have a chance to all right, let's figure this out. Let's talk about this. Why do you believe this? Why do you believe this about the Trinity? So on and so forth. I think it's good. And to be challenged. Yeah. Yeah, I try my best, friendo. I'm glad that you find the live chats are always fun, man. Y'all are fantastic. Friendo just says, I enjoy the live chats and when they can be respectful and can be respectful disagreements, but not trolls and jerks. I agree. No argument from me whatsoever. Yeah, he's immature for sure, God's fancy girl. Young Don is immature in his walk and believes that theology is a bad word and God can tell him everything so he can be the only one who knows the truth. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what kind of church would you have to be in for that to be true? For this statement right here, God's fancy girl, for me, let's just say I am, young Jason, and I believe this theology. Think about what kind of church I would have to be in, like where somebody could really be a part of my life. They're really involved with my wife and kids. They really come over and visit, so on and so forth. And I believe that it would have to be ironed out in person. Like I could get it ironed out. But if you're doing it online, you're almost become a law unto yourself. All right, so Vic says, Jason, I agree with you. We can have a healthy disagreements with other people online if it's done in faith and from a genuine place. We can stop right there. Absolutely. But let's continue. That's entirely different than the dumpster fire that often occurs. Absolutely. So that's one of the reasons why I strongly encourage people. Hey, I got no problem with you disagreeing with me. Absolutely. All I ask is that you stay respectful and don't use profanity. That's it. We can disagree. Absolutely. That's fine. And then lastly, of course, make sure you bring your facts. Like, don't just tell me the Bible is dumb. Okay. Well, I'm gonna need some information. The Bible is false. Okay. I'm gonna need you to explain where you get that from. That's fine. I have no problem with having back and forth dialogue in the chat or in the comment section. I don't care. But just remain respectful. That's it. And we don't use profanity. That's all. Thank you so much, Susie. That is my Phil Johnson video right there. Thank you so much. No, I agree. There's some, and I think you can start the conversation to say, hey, I would love to talk to you about this. Is your desire, when I came on YouTube as a black man to disagree with critical race theory and Black Lives Matters at the height of the summer of love, well, I was getting a lot of pushback. So I would just say, hey, not a problem. I will gladly talk with you about that. Is your desire to understand my viewpoint and where I come from and why I say that Black Lives Matters, critical race theory, and social justice are biblically bankrupt? Is that your desire, or is it just to argue? Because if it's just to argue, I'm not really feeling it today. And then lastly, I'm going to bring the gospel to bear. I'm going to share with you the gospel. So if you're okay with that, let us continue. If you don't want that or you don't feel comfortable with that, then we can end it right now. And I've said that and I will continue to say that. So yeah, we can definitely, I think however you set the parameters from the beginning, because you're gonna have to set terms anyway. So just set them in the beginning, like, hey, this is what we're gonna be talking about. Are you okay with that? Because I'm gonna talk about Jesus at the end of this. That usually causes them to run away anyway. All right, let's see if I missed anything else. I see a little bit of back and forth family reunion going on. Yeah, if I think it's God's Fancy Girl. If your niece is here in Atlanta, you can shoot me an email. I know Vic goes to a great church. I know April goes to a fantastic church. Rick Caldwell is a member of a wonderful church as well. There's several other brothers and sisters here. We can find somebody to help. Now, I agree to some degree, Susie. However, I'm not saying that he's wrong. So Susie, by the way, she says, my husband just said removing social media would probably make the world a better place. Yeah, I don't disagree. I just see the value in it. I know that it's a tool that we can use to help us and help us communicate. So not disagreeing, but I can still see some of the value in it. Okay, I think I've confused myself with this Rumble thing and I don't know how to fix it. Okay, I am not the Rumble. I'm a Rumble rookie. How about that? I'm a Rumble rookie. Actually, I just have my videos go upload on there. I don't even curate them. So I don't know if I can help you on that, but if I can, I will. I think this is a great point too, legit. The older I get, the more compassion I have, but hopefully more discernment I can exercise regarding false teaching. I agree. I mean, there's some situations I think now that Jason from 10 years ago would have been jumping off the top rope. Now I'm like, whatever. It's not that big a deal to me anymore. And I don't have to be right. All right. Oh, Friendo said, yeah, it was me that made that recommendation. I hope you like it. It's not theological. It's very interesting. Okay, no problem. Like I said, I'm planning on jumping on it this evening. So thank you. And I'll keep y'all posted. Maybe I'll have to be done next week because I read a book a week. I read that book in 2021, I believe. Brielle Hill. She's reading Vodie's Family Shepherd now. And it's really good, she says. Thank you so much, Susie Q. I appreciate it. If you would like to support Dear World Christian and buy me a coffee, the link is right there. Thank you so much for checking it out. The Mystery of Providence. I don't have many James Flavel. For some reason, that's really I think I have his biography. I think I have the biography of James Flavel. But that does sound familiar, though. I'll look it up when I get done. Oh, goodness. Shara says, I'm currently reading Apostate, The Men Who Destroyed the Christian West by Kevin Swanson. It's very interesting. Okay. I might have to check that out because that does sound interesting. What are your thoughts on alphabetical? What are your thoughts on alphabetical pastors and social justice warrior preachers? They're not biblical. I think I'm going to back up my answer. I think what needs to happen is we as Christians must become comfortable telling people when they do not behave and exhibit Christ-like behavior that they are not Christian. I think that's okay. So when we're talking about a pastor that embraces a lifestyle that is outright in rebellion against God, whether that's heterosexual sin or homosexual sin, it's okay to say, yeah, this person is not demonstrating Christ-like behavior. There's no reason for me to believe that he is a Christian. There's no reason. There isn't. And the more we understand what repentance looks like and what it means to be redeemed by Christ, the more we'll be like, yeah, we can't be playing footloose and fancy free with sin. Now, does that mean that we won't fall? Does that mean that we will be perfect? No, not at all. Not at all. Because we are still in our own sinful flesh and our greatest enemy is us. However, to be given over to our sin. If you're going around calling yourself a member of the Alphabet Mafia or a social justice Christian, I'm sorry. You're not a Christian. Just go ahead and admit it. You are a member of the Alphabet Mafia. You are a social justice warrior. Don't put Christian at the end of it because it doesn't help you. That's it. Now, do you want to just debate it? Okay, fine, no problem. Show me biblically where you get this from. And I think we as Christians should become comfortable and really and help separate ourselves from the shenanigans. I think sometimes we want to be included with the overwhelming majority of people who profess to be Christian, even though they're overwhelmingly not Christian. And I think it's okay to say, nah, that's not Christ-like behavior. You can say it all day long till the cows come home that Jesus would support the alphabet mafia. You could say that God is clearly giving you the breath to open your mouth and to make that noise with your vocal box. Problem is, it's not true. That's the problem. And I think it's okay to say that. All right, I'm trying to see if there's anybody else I missed. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Atlanta's big, and it depends on where she is. So, I mean, there are good churches in Atlanta. So not every church is a World Changers, New Birth, North Point. However, there might be some digging. They might have to do a little bit of excavating to find a good church. But yeah, if we can help you out, I'll be glad to help you out. And I'd love to find more other good churches. There we go. I recommend First Baptist Atlanta in Dunwoody. Here we go. As far as I know, Nakia, I don't believe Young Don is a member of a church. And now maybe something has changed. I haven't listened to him in a couple weeks, but I know that there was early on in his conversion story, he was not a member of a church. And that's problematic to me. Yeah, our traffic is getting bad. I hate it. I was somewhere yesterday. I was like, man, this traffic is not cool. This is uncool. I don't know what they need to do. I'm not 100%. It's inside the city, so I'm not 100% what they're doing wrong. But I sure pray that they figure it out, because it's making Atlanta lose its luster, in my opinion. Yes, come on, God's fancy girl. If you are getting sola scriptura, you will see what a wretch you really are and how you deserve the wrath of God. But God, we can just stop right there, who is rich in mercy, drew you. Absolutely. I love how you said it. Mark said he'll take Atlanta traffic over DC and New York. Oh yeah. No question about that. Now that I will definitely agree with. Yeah, please send me an email. Shawana, no problem at all. DearWokeC@gmail.com. What's going on, Lawrence? Lawrence is here in Atlanta as well. Lawrence and Vic, tell me where y'all go to church, if you don't mind. I know there's some good churches here in Atlanta. Oh, there we go. The G3 app. There we go. The G3 app. Help God's fancy girl find her church. I love it. Now, I will recommend, if you use the G3 app, go ahead and get 9 Marks or one of the other church finding apps, because some churches are not on every app. So like my church was not on, I want to say it was on, it wasn't on I think it was the G3 app. Anyway, you might want to get several of those apps to help you find and just kind of play around and see, because not every church is on every app. What's that, Naomi? Everybody say hi. President Firstborn. President Firstborn in the building. What?
Guys, I don't want to be that guy interrupting the show, but I just got some chicken tenders and I am about to put my hands on these chicken tenders. They're so good. I looked at them and I was like, whoa, chicken.
That is the blackest thing that's ever been said on my channel. Please get out of here.
If it's worth anything, I had fried chicken yesterday and I didn't touch it for a minute, but that's because I wasn't hungry. I love chicken. I love chicken.
Goodbye. Thank you. See what I got to put up with? Thank you, buddy. She's wild. That's my girl. All right. So here's an option as well. Gospel Hope of Avondale Estates, Stone Mill Church in Atlanta. I'm sorry, Stone Mill Church Atlanta in Berkeley Lake. I don't even know where that is, man. That sounds fancy. Yep, that was President Firstborn in the building talking about chicken. Girl's crazy, man. The secondborn is in there eating the chicken, so she didn't even wasting her time. What's going on? What's going on, Eric? Eric jumped in. We talking about chicken tenders. Yeah, that's President Firstborn stopped by. She went and got chicken. I don't know why. I don't know why, but here we go. Is that Proverbial Life in the building? Look at this, man. Now we talking about, oh my gosh, we're talking about food again. How is that possible? We're always doing this. And I think she had, we went to a friend of mine's daughter's college graduation dinner. And I think they had chicken and waffles. I think she had chicken and waffles yesterday too. And she didn't like it that much though, apparently. She liked the chicken. She didn't like the waffle. Anyway, what's going on, man? Good to see you, Edwin. Good to see you, man. Wingstop. I don't know what's with her and Wingstop. So they went to Wingstop. And that was actually what my wife was calling me about earlier. Asking me, did I want something from there? I didn't tell y'all, so I blocked it out. But yeah, so that's where she got them from. This video is not brought to you in part by Wingstop. She looks like her mom, so that's always, if you're single, male, and whatnot, always try to marry up. That way your kids at least have a fighting chance to look beautiful or handsome. There you go. Always marry up. That'll help you. That's what I did. See little kids back there, some babies back there 21 years ago. All right, what we got here? What's going on, Lou? What's happening, man? Grace and peace, friend. Good to see you. Yeah, I gotta find out where this is, Lawrence. I'm gonna have to give you a call tomorrow. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, I'm not a big chicken and waffle. And let me just tell y'all this. Don't tell nobody. I've never actually had chicken and waffles. I've had waffles. I've had chicken. I've never had them on the same plate in the same meal. I don't get it. Personally, I don't get it. When I see it, I was looking at it last night. Because my daughters, I know Trina had it, and somebody else on the table had chicken and waffles. I'm like, what is the appeal of that? I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, it just didn't make sense. Yeah, Nakia, marry up so your kids at least have a chance. I'm telling you, that's what I did. I overkicked my coverage for sure. I've never had it. I've never had Roscoe's before. Never. My brother loves it though. My brother, man, whenever we go somewhere, if they have it, if he comes in town and they have chicken and waffles available, James is going to get chicken and waffles. I was like, okay, I'll go with the chicken tenders, I guess. I don't know. I've never had it before. Let's see. Vic said it's hard to marry up today because the women want you to look better than they do. Well, yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Because I've seen you, Vic. So yeah, you're in trouble. Nope, never had chicken fried steak either. That don't even make sense. Like, what is that? I've seen it. Okay, all right. So, since we're talking about food, you've seen those memes where people are like, "How Southern are you?" And there's like 20, 30 different things on the list. And for the life of me, I'll just be honest. Let's just be transparent. I've never had oxtails. I've never had pimento cheese. I've never had chicken fried steak. Those are three things I can think off the top of my head. They don't make sense to me. I don't get them. I'm like, what is this? Pimento cheese looks scary. I ain't even lie. So I just go ahead. I know y'all gonna fight me. So catch me outside. Pimento cheese looks scary. So don't. Now, fried catfish, sign me up for that. But yeah, I've never had pimento cheese. I don't even understand what chicken fried steak is. Oxtails. I don't. No. All the no's. Now, there was a season when we would participate in a CSA at my gym. So you would buy like a quarter of a cow and you would get all these different parts and stuff like that. I would always get the beef heart. And you know what? It's actually really good. However, it's a delicacy that you really, after a while, it's just not, to me, it's not worth it. So yeah, I don't eat parts like that. So yeah, oxtails is gonna go to waste because I'm not gonna mess with it. Yeah, oxtails, and I don't do liver. No, gizzards, you can give it up. I'm sorry. I've been to Texas, and I'm just not. No, I don't understand it. Like, what is it? No, it looks like it's overcooked. Like, I like my steak, medium well, medium, something like that. And this looks overcooked. I don't have to worry about sleeping on pimento cheese because I will not be having it. Y'all got me to have kimchi, and y'all did win with that, I have to admit. But yeah, I'm not, you do not have to worry about me saying I had pimento cheese. You will not have to worry about me saying, oh, I'm eating pimento cheese. Nope, not gonna happen. I'm not even putting some of this stuff on the screen. Oh my gosh, no, some of y'all wilding out. Oh my word, no. Y'all, we might have to end this show right here because some of y'all done lost your minds. Y'all done lost all y'all minds talking about no, all the no's. Just ask yourself, is Jason gonna say no about this? Then you know. You already know. No. I don't even know what chicken fried steak is, so that's gonna be it. I'd rather a decent ribeye, decent sirloin, just call it a game. No. I'm not. Fried cactus. Y'all. What in the world is that? Now I'm gonna have to look that up now. What in the world? Give me some Wagyu. Absolutely. I want to try to grill. I would love to splurge and get me a Wagyu brisket. I know that's gonna be a smooth $1,000 easily, and I would love to cook a Wagyu brisket. I would love it, because I think that would be enough meat to justify it. But yeah, what is that? Now, I have had pork and beans, yes. Okay, come on, but I don't eat it now. This is what it is. That's what it is. Anything that I would have eaten when I was in college, I do not eat it now. So like pork and beans, like my chief executive, second born, she's into ramen. She really loves ramen. I'm like, girl, that's some stuff I would have ate in college. So she's like, Dad, let's go out and get some ramen. So she took me to get some, I took her to go get this little ramen place. I have to admit it was good. I have to admit, with all the spices and all the veggies and stuff in there, it was pretty good. I have to say, no question about it. However, I told her, I said, this is what I would have eaten in college. And she's like, yeah, I'm getting myself ready for college, so I'll know how to make it. So she got some of the ingredients, and she made it here, and apparently it's pretty good. But my point is, to me, I said that just reminds me of college food, and because it's college food, I'm not going to eat it. On college, I ate dry ramen out of the package, seasoned. Oh my gosh. Vic, I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. I don't even want to. If you tell somebody I have to look it up, I'm already certain this is going to be something I'm going to disagree. Yeah, that's what it is. Is it like pho or something? I don't know what that is. Pho? But it's ramen and she loves it. Like, okay. I bet I wouldn't be surprised if she wouldn't talk my wife into getting it for her. I wouldn't even be surprised. I don't think a Wagyu brisket would work. Too much fat. I smoke briskets once a month or so. Okay. So friendo, I was watching, I don't remember who it was. So a lot of the fat trimming that goes on with a brisket is because of barbecue and grilling and pitmaster competitions. So I heard. Before competitions became popular, most briskets were not trimmed very much. Now, of course, that hard callus fat that's usually on the fat cap. Of course, you want to cut that off, but all the rest of the fat it's not trimmed off. And so I was actually going to try and get me a Packer brisket, just a regular Packer brisket at the supermarket, cut off that big, hard, thick fat, but the rest of it just leave alone. Just season it well and smoke it and see what happens, see how it comes out. Because I was just reading and watching that one of the main reasons what they do all of that trimming, all that slicing off, all that is just from pitmaster competitions. Had you ever heard that, or did I just make that up? Tell me what you think. All right, where am I at? I see some. Yeah, I don't know what possessed her. I don't know, Atlanta 82. She really does, but she's proficient, I guess. She even knows how to make the soft-boiled egg and soaks it in the broth, so it's got a little bit of color and flavor. I mean, it's actually really, it's good. I ain't gonna lie. Well, my grill is a Big Green Egg, Atlanta 82. Now we could have a 3-hour show now. We want to talk about that, because I love my green egg. And matter of fact, I might cook tomorrow. Okay, here it is. It is correct, but Wagyu is marbled throughout, right? It could be. I could be wrong. It just seems too much fat, like the fat on the brisket, but too much is too much. So yeah, I would like to try a Wagyu brisket. Now, I'm not above it. Like I said, I might just go get a Packer from my supermarket and try it out. But I heard that you can just cut off some of that hard fat, even it out, and you don't have to do all that major trimming. Because I'm sure you've seen people trim a brisket, easily trim off 2 pounds of meat because they're trying to get it square and trying to get all this stuff. And the video and what I've read is like, you don't have to do all that. So it's something to think about. Something I was thinking about. Is a Big Green Egg worth it? Yes and no. All right. So I've been a Big Green Egg owner since, I've had it for 11 years. So I think Taylor was 2 when they got it for me for Father's Day. So I've had it for, about 11 years. I love it. It's a fantastic grilling experience. You will learn how to grill differently. So if you're used to a kettle grill, which there's nothing wrong with a kettle grill, if you move to a Big Green Egg, it's a totally different experience. So with that being the case, I think it's worth it. One, because their warranty is out of control. Just about everything on my green egg has been replaced. From the dome to the bottoms, all the internals, everything's been replaced at least once, maybe even twice. And they take really good care of it. Now, that being the case, the equipment itself, the grill itself, is really sturdy. So I think you're going to learn how to cook on a very premium piece of equipment. So I really do think it's worth it, especially if you can find somebody who's upgrading. Maybe they had an outdoor kitchen and they're getting something different, and you can get it on a steel or whatnot. Get it. Even if you just buy it, I bought mine brand new, and I haven't been mad about it at all. I've done some crazy things with my green egg, and it's been treating me nice ever since. So, all along. So I think it's well worth it. So yes. I have done green eggs and ham on my green egg. Absolutely. I would bore you if I told you some of the antics that I've done on that. A Big Green Egg. You definitely have been hanging out with Tim Ross. You go that bread in your pocket. Okay, that took me a second. I'm like, what in the world? Man, Tim Ross, man, he's such a train wreck. We saved up, and they wanted to get it for me for Father's Day. Like I said, about 11, maybe even 12 years ago, because we were new here in this house, and we got it. So, I had bread in my pocket. Got bread in my pocket and a green egg on my deck. So there we go. I think I'm gonna try it though, friendo. I think I am. I'll report back. But So yeah, I'm not a pellet guy, but I'm not mad at pellet grills at all. I just I like my green egg. I'm comfortable with it. I've learned a lot. I wouldn't mind upgrading to get an XL because I have a large at the moment. But besides that, yeah, I will be rocking with that buddy for a while. Where are you, Gary? It took me over a month for me to find an electric skillet sold in a store over here. I wonder where you live. Where do you live? What? I love making. I have a George Foreman grill. Those are fantastic. Now, we don't use it as much as we used to, but no, man, that Foreman grill is fantastic. Especially the one where the plates come out, you can put in the dishwasher. Psh, come on, man. What is going on? What's going on, Randy McFoy? We're waiting for you, man. We was waiting for you to come and preach the word to us. As always, we're talking about food. How is that even a possible thing? Yeah, absolutely, man. Foreman, you can do anything you can cook on the grill, you can cook on the Foreman. I can't think of something that I could not cook. And my Foreman has the plates level out so that you can cook like eggs on there and bacon. Man, come on. Man, I'll send you my Foreman grill, brother. I will send it to you so you have it. What's my favorite Bible translation? I'm Presbyterian, so it's mandatory that we use ESV. That is a joke. That is a joke. I enjoy the ESV though, but I'd probably go with ESV and New King James. Yeah, I'd probably say ESV and New King James would probably be my favorites, if you will. But that would be it. But good to see you, Randy. Good to see you, friend. Yeah, I had a basic Foreman in college, and it broke my heart because I don't remember where I was living. I was getting out of the pantry, and the cord caught on something, and I turned the step, and it, taut and slammed onto the floor, and it broke, and it never was the same. And so we ended up having to replace that one. And this is when Foreman grills were like in their primes. They were always putting out new ones. And so that's when I got that new one that we have. I mean, we've had it forever. We've had that thing for some time. But yeah, that's a good grill, indoor especially. I remember that ESV advertisement with all the floating head pastors. What? I've never saw that. He's the one Paul used. Paul used the ESV, the NIV. Really? Really? Are you sure? I love it. So it's some New King James people, some NASB people, some KJV people. Absolutely. There we go. So Randy is an ESV and NKJV person as well. There you go. Wow, that's pretty gangster. Bring the Foreman grill with you on cross-country trips so you can cook in the hotel. I love it. One time I cooked at school with my Foreman grill when I was my second year as a teacher, and I think that was the last time I did that. That was crazy. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, they are literal wooden translations. I like how you said that. All right, let me know what you think about it, Vic. The Legacy Standard Bible. If you don't mind, let me know what you think about it. I'd like to hear your thoughts. All right. Sproul does have a study Bible. I don't know if it's called the Sproul Study Bible, but there is a Sproul. I want to say it's Ligonier is the name on it. Don't quote me on that, but I'm trying to see if I can pull it up and find it real quick, but I'm gonna probably botch that up. All right, now I don't see it. All right, somebody's gonna find it before me. Is that what it's called now? It's a Reformation Bible. That might be it. That sounds right now. Thank you, friend. Thank you. I'm gonna pull this over here. I know the Reformation Study Bible floats around Smyrna Press a lot. Yeah, I don't know if that's the Sproul one, but yeah, definitely. I like it. I like it. Well, let me know, Nakia, what you think about it. I would like to know your thoughts on it. Now, you can follow Tim at A Fresh Perspective because he has probably, I'm not even being funny, I think he has 50 different types of Bibles. He has quite a bit. So I think he will approve of your hoarding of Bibles. I don't think he will turn you away at all. All right, let me see what I got here. Well, good people, again, I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight. I want to thank you for, first of all, for your time. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for checking out the videos, even though they're not being pushed to you. I don't even know if you're getting notifications when I put out new content. Shadow ban is a real thing. It is a real thing. So, but definitely keep us in prayer. A lot of other content creators are having very similar problems. So the Lord will do what he's going to do. So that is it. But I want to thank y'all so much. Thank you for supporting me on Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate y'all going there and checking me out. And there is a new video over there, by the way, that is not yet over here on the YouTube streets. So check it out. Hook me up with coffee, help the brother out. I appreciate it. I thank y'all so much. There will be some fun videos going up this week, as well as I'm going to be doing probably a little bit more using my church's sermons, because the sermons have just been fantastic. Lots of good takeaways. So I might actually be using a little bit more of my own sermons from my own pastor to share with y'all. So that will be it as well. So Lord willing, you'll see that. And who knows, maybe we'll do a cooking show next time. Maybe we'll come outside, we'll hang outside and we'll smoke some brisket or something. I don't know. What you got there? God bless you so much, Eric. I thank you so much for hanging out. What we got? Eric is a new King James person. I got you. And a KJV for me primarily. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Eric. Everybody, do me a favor, if you don't mind. Have a fantastic week. Continue to keep content creators in prayer. Continue to encourage and edify your own pastors and elders and church leaders. Let them know that you appreciate them and such like that. And we'll do this again, Lord willing, next week. So what was the Steve Lawson link that was requested? I don't know. I didn't see that. I'm sorry. All right. So Randy's sermon will be up. Randy, make sure you drop your link in the chat real quick as well, so people know to go check out they can go check out your channel. Same thing, Eric, servant of God. Let me get ready to get out here. The Drive by Theology. Is this the book? Is that the Steve Lawson book, The Drive by Theology? Okay. I might have missed it too, Susie. I'm sorry. I will look it up, and if I need to, we'll put it in the comment section. There we go. That's what we'll do. But everybody, thank y'all so much. Let's do it again, Lord willing, next week. There'll be some fun things up this week, so please check those out. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace. Take care. See you soon.